Hey, what's up you guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Amanda, and I pretty much talk all things paranormal because all things in my life happen to revolve around paranormal. So I had a lot of trouble deciding what my first video that I put out should be, and I thought, what better idea than to have an interview with someone who grew up in that demon attached house with me. So I have a brother, he's 2 years older than me, and he has agreed to hop on here. It was kind of unplanned. We were having a little family dinner. My brother, his girlfriend Kenzie, and my mom and dad were all in the room, and we just started talking about my childhood and what it was like growing up in that house and Tyler's experience versus mine. And so I was like, wait, let me grab my camera, and it's just me and Tyler in frame because we were all kind of sitting around in the room, but you'll hear everybody pop in at some point. So this is the video. Before we get into it, it would really help me out if you hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm just now coming back, and let me know if you like this content and want to see more of it. Let me know if you want to see me interview any of my other family members next. But with that being said, here's me and Ty. Okay, Tyler, without your permission, and then I called you and asked, so easier to ask forgiveness than permission. I posted something on Instagram asking just like, well, I mean, we grew up in a up house.
Yeah.
And we had completely different experiences. Because I was seeing what was doing the things that were happening and moving, and you were just watching the cupboards open and things fly out.
Oh, totally different.
So I wanted to know, and the people want to know, how your experience differed than mine. And we have some crazy questions.
Right on.
I'm going to start out with my favorite one. Oh wait, actually I'm going to start out with this one because I think it kind of sets a precedent to, I'm just going to start out with it. Did he ever feel left out as a child knowing you could see and he couldn't?
Oh, no. Easy. That's too easy. Easy.
I feel like we tried to keep it a secret for a long time.
I felt like we kept it a secret for longer than we did. I remember saying to Tyler when he was more of an adult age, something like Tyler didn't know about it. I was thinking that you were like 16 or something, and then you told me that you actually knew earlier. But
Yeah.
I do remember like when we talked about it, I said to you, you know, we always told him, man, we didn't talk about it at all, even amongst ourselves, because the church had told us the more you talk about it, the stronger it gets, and the more it's going to scare Amanda. So we had told Amanda when she was little, instead of telling us Jay is here or that you're scared, just blink and then we'll know, because there's nothing we can do.
So I'm constantly like walking around the house like...
So I do remember when I talked to Tyler about it when he was older, he said, oh, I always thought she had a tit. She was always walking around blinking her eyes.
But we didn't, like, when you we're only 2 years apart, so it's like, you've got, kitty fight. You have a 4-year-old who's seeing demonic things, you don't then want your 6-year-old to know what's going on too. Like, it was kind of a blessing that, like, we were both experiencing it, but only one of us was seeing it. But,
Yeah.
Do you remember how old you were or how you found out that she...
Yeah, I remember exactly when I found out.
Really?
I don't remember the age, but I remember it was probably around 7th grade since we moved out of the house in 8th grade.
Okay.
And I found out the day that 2 priests came to our house,
Oh.
actually. And I just walked upstairs and saw like 2 priests being welcomed in and was kind of like, oh, you know, like,
That's not normal.
what are these guys doing here?
Wait a minute! Who are you?
And we all sat in the living room and you guys spilled the beans. And I was just like, oh, like, so that's what's been happening? And kind of heard the whole story for the first time along with the priest hearing the story.
Was that when we got rid of the Darwin statue, the monkey?
Yeah, and they went around the house and they picked out all these little like art sculptures and like artifacts and things, and were like, you shouldn't have this, like this has bad energy. They like blessed all the doorways, like went to every room.
I wonder if we thought you weren't going to be there that day or something, because it seems weird that after hiding it...
No, it was like just to a point where it was just like so...
Yeah, but I just knew we had tried to hide it from you always, and then all of a sudden, you know, we pulled the priest out right in front of you. They were looking for things that they thought might attract a negative energy, thinking if we got rid of those things that it might go away.
How did you find these priests that you found?
I had been
To the church we went to.
church. Yeah.
But we went through everywhere. I mean, we were Christian. We went to Catholic churches. We were on the phone with some man in India. Like,
Well, the crazy
foreheads on
thing
the
is,
ground.
Were you there for that too, Tyler?
Seminars.
No, I just remember.
There,
Yeah, that was
there's
some
3
stories.
of us in a
Good
row
prayers,
in a
yeah.
triangle. I remember that one.
Yeah, some high up in the
What?
priesthood in India, and we had met Danny Johnson at a Danny Johnson seminar, and she was super open to it, and so we took Amanda back, and she like prayed over Amanda and talked to Amanda, and then told us about this guy she knew in India who could possibly get rid of it. So he called us, and we like put our house phone on speakerphone, and he had us all lay on our stomachs with our foreheads like against the floor, and he chanted and prayed for what seemed like an hour.
Oh, it felt like, yeah, it was probably an hour. It felt like 4.
Again, didn't
I was
work.
gonna say, by the way, it did not work.
Neither of those things worked. So
But then another minister that we met had been in like a town in England that had supernatural activity was just running rampant through this town. And I talked to him and I received a bunch of information from him, and this guy was more spot on than I would say anybody that we talked to.
probably those letters that we just
Yeah,
found,
the
all
letters
those
that I just
prayers
found.
were probably
Were from him.
That
Yeah,
we
that's
couldn't remember
exactly
where they
who
came
that
from.
was from.
But anyway, so
Kept those for
yeah,
ever.
nothing, none of those things, none of the blessings, none of the priests, none of the holy water, none of the sage, none of it helped at all.
Could you ever feel the energy of the house, or were you just completely unaware? Somebody wants to know.
At times it would feel different. It would feel spooky,
Mm-hmm.
but I didn't have anything to relate it to,
Right.
like knowing what was going on. But like things were definitely. I would say I was more frustrated than scared,
Yeah.
just because I didn't understand.
So that was the next question. Was like, did you ever have any? Did you ever physically see anything with your own eyes, like a spirit, like a shadow figure? Not see things move, but did you ever see a shadow figure?
There was only one time,
Really?
like when we were like young, that I saw one,
Uh-huh.
and I like so vividly remember it.
How old were we?
I don't remember the age. It must have been around like 1st to 3rd grade, because I was having a sleepover with one of my best friends at the time, and basically we were just staying in the room. It might have been your room at the time with the sliding glass door.
Oh yeah, the 2 sliding glass doors.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just sitting there watching TV or playing video games or something, and we saw someone walk across the sliding glass door
Yeah.
towards the end, like where there'd be a railing and a drop off, and he like walked towards the drop off and like stayed over there. Like we didn't see him come back across, so we started yelling for our older brother Justin.
Yeah.
And he came running in with his little airsoft gun that had like the orange part cut off the top to look more intimidating. And we were like, someone's outside, like they're in our backyard.
Yeah.
And he opened up the door and
No
there was
one
no
was
one
there.
there.
Dang.
But that was like the only time that I like, very visibly, like vividly saw something going across. But at the time I didn't even like know that it
Realize.
was like a
Dang.
So
spirit
that
or-
wasn't because it wasn't on your list of things to think about.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it wasn't like a worry of mine or anything.
Okay, so there's 2 more questions. You can ask whichever one you want to first, because I feel like either goes with them. It would be, so that was like you physically saw a figure with your eyes. Off the top of my head, because I remember after we finally moved out of the house, so I was 12 or 13, we talked about like the game room, which was particularly a very active room and like something that you experienced. So my questions are, or the 2 questions are, what was something that you experienced the most? Like we used to have cupboards opening, the windows or the mirrors flying, the TV, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Did you ever, like how Justin protected you came with the airsoft gun? The question right above that one was, like, did your brother ever do anything to try and protect you, like from these things, even though you, I love that question, so.
Right on. So to start it out with like things that we'd experienced the most, I would say the game room with the TV turning on and off. I had no idea what it was, but going back to like saying I was frustrated with things rather than being scared,
Yeah.
was the TV would just turn on and off or flip like 10 channels up, and you would get it back to the right channel, and then it would flip 10 down.
And then the volume would completely mute, and then it would go all the way up.
It just like, you know, you were trying to have a relaxing, unstressful day after 4th grade.
Watching Disney Channel.
Watch a little Disney, and you couldn't do it because the TV like would just be so erratic. And yeah, that would probably be the most common thing.
I remember moving out, and so again, we were like 12 or 13, or I was 12 or 13, you're 2 years older than me, so you were 15 or 16, and it was the first time that we had ever really talked about it like this, you know? And we brought up the game room, and the TV switching channel was one of the first things we talked about since it was like the most common, and you were like, I just thought you had the remote and that you were fucking with me.
Yeah, it was always like some prank.
We didn't have a remote for that TV, like at all. Like there was the buttons on the side and the really long, like literally was this length of like your thumb button that was all skinny to turn it on the very front. But I remember losing the remote early on.
Yeah, it's just one of those things when the TV's doing stuff without you touching it, you assume there's a remote.
Yes, there was no remote. And then the next question goes into the other one. I'm gonna answer it because I'm your sister and I love stealing things from you. But the whole like, did your brother ever do anything to protect you? Even though you didn't see things, I'll never forget this. I was having a sleepover. I wish I knew the age I was. I had to have been under 6 because I was still in the room with the sliding glass doors where you had your experience where you saw the man outside. And keep in mind, we didn't talk about this, so it's not like, oh, you saw a man outside? I saw a man outside on the balcony too. And I was asleep with my friends, and I saw a man on our front porch, standing there looking at us through the sliding glass door. Immediate panic, and I just remember screaming, and like, boom, brother was there. Like, you came in, and living in San Diego, we Padres fan.
Like a little souvenir.
Yeah, like a little. I had a pink one, and you had one with like the little eyes on it.
Yeah, it was the Lake Elsinore storm.
Oh yeah, and I remember just like panicking and like eyes closed, and I was like, please get rid of it. And you just like not knowing if it was a ghost or a person or like what it was.
It was a person.
No, guaranteed, because you didn't know what a ghost was. Yeah. You know what I mean? Really, at that age, but you like hauling booty into my room with this half-size baseball bat, ready to just ruin somebody up because I was scared. So that was like one of the moments where you fully came to bat for me. And then there was other times where this thing would just like torment me. And I like how you share this one better than I do, but where this thing would torment me and what you would try and do to make me feel better.
So basically just torment it back. Show her there's nothing to be scared of. Like, we can bully this thing right back. And since I couldn't see where it was, you know, I would ask her, you know, where is he? And she would point to the corner. And I'd walk over to that corner and turn around and pull my pants down and rub my butt at it and be like, oh, you like that?
Like, he would just mock this thing. And to me, it was so unbelievable because I was having panic attacks trying to sleep, seeing this and following me to church, to school, like anywhere I went in life. This was like this was literally my demon, you know what I mean? And you just, oh, like you're not so tough, and I'm like, but it worked and it made me feel better, and I don't know.
So I have a question. So since he didn't know there were ghosts there, what did you think when she was telling you there's somebody in my room and you don't see anybody there?
Yeah.
Well, so it kind of like slowly evolved. At first she started sleeping in the same room as me. Every night she would take out, you know, like our portable travel mattress and set it up at the end of the bed, and she'd make her bed in my room. And at first I didn't really like it. Like, you got
just
your own
move
room.
it. Maybe my little sack moving into your room. Like, I'm not sleeping in there.
Yeah, and then, you know, my mom explained, like, if she's younger than you, she's just, you know, a little scared at times. Like, it helps to have her brother around.
Dang.
It, you know, it really helped bond us, I felt like. And that's why when she kind of did start talking about these things, I was like, oh, like, I'll be big and strong. I'm her brother. I'll show her there's nothing to be worried about. To where it became more serious and I did find out what was actually happening. And then when they would show up, I wouldn't really like target them in that similar way. Instead, we would have like
A
different
priest
prayers that we would do.
Oh yeah, in the name of the Lord, I command you to leave.
Yeah.
The blood of Jesus Christ covers this house. You are not welcome here. This is a holy place. I'll never forget that.
I kind of did the same thing a little bit too. Like when she was scared, and I'd be like there's nothing to be afraid of.
No, you used to say, how tough are you? How strong are you to be picking on an 8-year-old little girl? Do you have nothing better to do?
But she'd like tell me where it was, and I would get up and get in its face because it didn't scare me because I don't see it, I don't feel it, so it wasn't scary for me to do that. So I kind of used to do the same thing, just kind of try and bully it in front of her.
Well, plus in the beginning, you thought she was like mentally ill.
Well, not
That's a whole nother story. This is Tyler's video. We'll get into mom thinking I'm mentally ill and then becoming traumatized by what I told her in another video. If you want to see my mom next, or hear from my mom next.
Back to Tyler.
Back to Tyler. But yeah, that was the one that I remember, just, never even leaving my room and going, because Tyler's room was right next to mine. Literally, I opened my door, and then I could open Tyler's door. They were adjacent.
They were corners.
Yeah, I couldn't even get out of bed to go get Tyler. He woke up and came in. Whatever it was, he was right there. Do you have any similar abilities?
Nothing even close to the gifts that you have. The most of my ability is really just feeling when someone is there. It normally has to be a pretty strong entity for me to. But whenever I do, I'll just FaceTime Amanda and she'll tell me what's going on.
And you're always spot on.
Yeah, there's someone in your chair next to you, and it always happens to be when I'm passing something significant where something happened, and it's fun because then I get to hear the full story from her.
Another weird thing that's always happened between us is we'll have weird things happen.
Oh, it's always the same
on
night.
The same night, whether it's and I don't dream very often, but whether it's a weird dream or a weird experience, I have night lights in my house. I have one outside my bathroom, one right here, and then one right in my room, so that when you walk by them, they're motion censored. It lights my whole way to the bathroom in the middle of the night, so I don't trip and die. And the cats get it. Maybe they're down there, you know what I mean? But in the middle of the night, I'm awake. This one turns on, and I'm thinking, it's the kitty walking out from the laundry room using the litter box. And then the next one turns on right here, just a little closer to my room, and I'm like, he's coming to bed with me. And I look up waiting for him to come in, and I see Bobby and Blump at the bottom of my bed. And then the third one turns on in my room, and I was like, okay, 3 out of 3, that's a little bit weird. And then I was like, I'm not gonna sleep after that. And the next day you called me or sent me a picture of your chair.
Oh, yeah.
Which I'll put in the video right now,
Oh.
but if you want to share that story.
Yeah, just waking up in the morning, getting ready for work, and walk out of our bedroom, down the hallway, and just right in front of me, in the dining room, it was one of our chairs, but it was, instead of sitting, how chairs do, all 4 legs on the ground.
How chairs do.
It was just perfectly balanced at a 45-degree angle on 2 legs, but...
You took a picture and sent it to me. I was like, oh god.
I was like, look what I just walked out
And
to.
our family is crazy enough that neither of you even mention this stuff to us.
Yeah.
Both of your stories are pretty crazy. I'm hearing them for the first
The
time.
light thing is whatever.
Mm-hmm. Want to hear something crazy about that couch you're sitting on right now?
Great.
No.
So this was actually while I was gone filming with Sam and Colby. I think that I might have been at the Conjuring house when this happened. And Brendan was here alone, and it was a little later at night because I filmed from 6 p.m. till 6 a.m. So it could have been at any point in these hours. And Brendan was in the kitchen doing something. He says washing dishes, but I don't believe that. No one's buying that here.
You do it.
And all of a sudden he hears this sounds like this. Or not even loud enough, like that, something move, and he's looking around the house. It's just the cats and him, and he's like, what the was that, And he's looking and looking. Nothing is out of place. So he's kind of like, okay, maybe it's fine, whatever. It felt a little weird, but nothing's wrong. So I'm just going to keep going back to what I'm doing. And then he walked out of the living room. That couch that you're sitting on was pulled away from the wall 4 or 5 inches at an angle. Yep.
I'm not surprised.
Your side was in the corner, your side was out.
Probably Fat Bobby tried to push his way through.
Did that just fall off right next to you, or did you knock it?
No, I didn't touch it.
You really didn't? What was it?
Look at my shoulder's not touching this one, and it was on the far side of this one. It's a shoe, a van.
It was balanced.
It's a van.
Right. It's a van. It's a van. It was balanced. You're not in it. Right there. So something had to.
It takes a pretty big hit. Like
I'm really
bumping those.
There we go. That's crazy.
I thought it was a cat at first.
What were we talking about right when we said that?
About the couch moving.
Oh, about the couch moving. Yeah. Okay, weird. Hopefully you guys don't move on the couch.
Let's get pulled off.
Maggie and I joke about that all the time. Get thrown into the wall. Or like, I guess that's not that funny.
Casually thrown against the wall.
Casually just levitates.
Have you told the story about your shelves being pulled down in there?
I kind of have, but probably not to do. I actually have an update on that story that I haven't told you. So I'm just going to start over and tell this story really fast. Okay, so Tyler and I have a mutual friend. He was in my grade, but like more of your friend. And I was over at his house one day, and we were sitting in the living room, and you could see the bedroom from the living room. And on the bed, there was a spirit, sitting there. And it was like kind of an older house. So I just asked him, like, how do you casually bring this up, you know? Like, oh, like, do you know the history of your house? Yeah, you know, we've had it for a while. Oh, you know, if anyone's passed away in, like, maybe that room over there? And he goes, actually, my dad died in that bed. And so then I was super uncomfortable that I had brought it up because, like, that was my bad.
Yeah, I don't want to.
Yeah,
you don't know how sensitive it is at the time.
I didn't even know his father had passed away. So I was like, oh no. And then immediately, like, as I'm sitting there with his dad and him, I'm, like, getting more information. He just wants, like, he wants to apologize. He had overdosed. And I don't think that he was the best. I think he was very present, you know, wasn't the best role model maybe, but he just had a lot to apologize for, it seemed like. And that was the time that he wanted to do it, was like, he's like, I know what I've done wrong. That's how it is when you pass away, you know? So he was ready to, like, apologize to his son, and I told him that, and he was not ready to hear it. And I've always said I work for the living, not for the dead. And I kind of told his dad at the time, you know, you made the decisions that you made during your life. You ended up where you are now. I'm not going to put somebody who suffered through what you put them through, like, I'm not going to make them suffer again for your peace. So when he's ready to hear it, I'll share your message. But until then, I'm on his side, you know, like, I'm protecting him, not you. And did that cause problems with his dad? Never in my life, other than living in that house, never in my life have I had so much physical activity. He actually, at one point, Brendan and I were in my car, and my phone was plugged in the center console, like, thing, so it was standing up like this, and we watched my phone lift up, turn sideways, and get thrown on the ground. And, like, my hands, I don't know if anyone's noticed, I kind of sit with them crossed in my lap, like, most of the time. Brendan's obviously 2 hands on the steering wheel, so I'm like this, he's like this, and my phone is in the air, and we're looking at it, and it gets thrown on the ground. And Brendan was like, what the f*** was that? And I was like, that was Dad. And from that point, it just, like, me and this kid weren't talking anymore. We had a falling out. And he's like, you need to tell him. He was just persistent, and, like, things started getting kind of more, I don't want to say aggressive, but
he was trying to
ugly.
attention.
I remember at our house, you'd be down at our house, and I would watch your phone go fly. It was always your phone.
He's like, text him. Eventually, like, you guys, oh, there goes my phone. That was my fault, though.
I think you have a Casetify.
I was gonna say that's gonna make everybody shit sad.
Casetify. Not sponsored. Eventually, I made a deal with him. I was like, you know what? Like, we don't talk anymore. He didn't want to hear what you have to say. I'll have Tyler reach out one more time and ask him, like, let him know that he has a message, and if he wants to hear it, I will get together with him and I will share your message. And you reached out and he wasn't open to it, right?
But you said if he doesn't want to hear it, you have to leave me alone.
Yeah, you have to leave me alone. That was our deal, and he agreed. And you reached out. He didn't want to talk, and I haven't had any problems since. But before, the last thing that he did besides throwing my phone that was the most violent was I have shelves in my laundry room, and when food's on sale, I'll buy it in, like, you know what I mean, in like bulk with spaghetti sauce. So I had a ton of spaghetti sauce, and that's the shelf that he pulled down. And like, there's no possible way, it was nailed in, there's no possible way he could have pulled it out and down the way it landed. There was spaghetti sauce all over the wall, which is not important, except for the fact that it took forever to clean up.
And it was like the middle of the night.
The stains are back. I haven't told you that. Come look. The stains are completely back.
I cleaned that. Good. Just kidding, I didn't clean.
Look.
Holy moly.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's super weird.
Like, we bleached the wall.
It's like pasta sauce bleeding.
I know, it literally is.
That's what non-organic pasta sauce does to your insides.
True that. Hashtag sponsored by HelloFresh.
Are you really?
Yeah, I really am. How funny is that? I can actually use it in real life context.
So funny.
Were you ever touched by a spirit?
Probably.
No.
Like,
Yeah.
it's kind of one of those things that has just become so regular, like living.
No, I get it.
And I don't know the word I'm looking for. Like just being aware of like the spirit world.
Mm-hmm.
That when something like that does happen, it's like so low on the crazy meter.
Compared to the couch moving.
That's so funny.
Yeah, it's like there's lots of experiences that I've had and been a part
Yeah.
of with you that are like imprinted in my brain.
What's your top one?
I would say one of them would be when we woke up to the sounds of the pasta sauce being thrown off the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
Because that was like after Brendan had a seizure, just outing him right
Oh
there.
my God.
So I was really worried that he was seizing again.
Were you here when that happened?
I was.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know
It
that.
was like right when I moved back from North Carolina, so I was sleeping in the room right next to like where the pasta sauce got
Oh,
thrown.
I
So
didn't
we
know
were
that.
all here.
Yeah, so I heard like the loud bang and came running out thinking that Brendan had just
Seized
timbered.
Hit the floor again. It was so loud.
And yeah, it was that had happened. But
Wow.
probably like the most vivid, like weird experience that happened to me was when we were staying at a hotel in Las Vegas. Probably my most vivid memory of just like something crazy happening would be when we were in Las Vegas. And I don't remember what hotel we were staying at. I want to say it was maybe like the MGM or something.
I was gonna say the same thing.
It was a really, really tall building, like all of them on the strip, you know?
Right. And all glass too.
Yeah, all glass, and we're on the 23rd floor.
You
So,
remember that?
I remember it because we were looking at the windows and we're like,
Yeah.
these are so thick. They're
Mhm.
like, you know, a good...
I remember you saying, I feel like I could run from that way
And throw
to
my
throw my
body
body
against the
that way
window.
and
Yeah.
have it not break. And
Yeah.
that's kind of what got us looking at this
Yeah,
window.
and we're like jumping and... you know,
And Mom was all mad. My mom's over there.
like just running, hitting our backs
Yeah.
into this window, 23
Like,
stories up.
what if we do it at the same time? Maybe that'll be
Yeah.
enough.
And-
Cut to Tyler hitting his head with an exit sign.
Ty.
So hard.
You said it was gonna come off.
It's concreted.
Alright.
Is Bobby's button shot?
Yeah, it is. Was there an exact moment that you instantly, like, that made you believe in the paranormal?
I never really didn't believe you.
Aww.
Like, from the day that I found out till this day, like, I never had a doubt in my mind.
Yeah.
And I feel like it's something that I've always, like, wanted you to pursue. Because even though, like, it was scary when we were kids, I just remember being older and getting ready for college and, like, what are we going to do when we grow up? And you had all these ambitions and
I was gonna
goals
be
and yeah, and, like,
a doctor.
not to say like don't have ambitions and goals,
Yeah.
but I was just like, you have this gift, like it's so special and it's so cool and it deserves to be shared.
Yeah, and I wasn't gonna use it. Like I was just like I tried for so long, Kenzie, just to block this thing out and have it disappear and not be a thing. And when we moved out of the house that I grew up in when I was 12 years old, it wasn't until that moment I saw Jay. I've seen him since. I saw him one more time. He was standing in the front by the trees. But like, was he attached to the house? Was he, I don't know what it was, but us moving out, all of a sudden I stopped seeing that one demonic thing and I started seeing people. So like, I didn't even know that was a thing until,
Wow.
I have two memory. Talking to you about it like brings up crazy things that I forgot about.
I know, it's all just been like put in the closet. Like, never...
Shut the door and lock it.
Yeah, like let's forget about that.
Yeah, no, it was bad. Do you remember it was when Mom had a Chrysler 300, her gold Chrysler 300, and I was riding in the front seat, and we pulled up to the house, and Jay was in the garage.
Yeah, and you saw his red eyes looking through the window.
You can share this story because I've shared it before, so if you share it exactly like I do.
That's just, I remembered like just that like part so vividly as we were sitting, like getting ready to leave, so we're facing down the hill, and I was, I'd always ask you like, where is he? Did you see him? And you told me like, I see his red eyes like, looking through the window. And
it was like taller, it was a garage door, you know what I mean? So it's not like he's looking through. It was taller than a person could have been. I remember Mom was so at her wit's end with me that day that she left me in the car and was like, I'm going inside. And I was like frozen with fear. Like I could not get out and you came out and got me. But yeah, that one was crazy. And then shoot, I had another one that popped in my head that just left. Oh, Ryan, our cousin Ryan, who was a major non-believer in this. But this is after we moved to this house and it involves auras.
Takes place in the backyard at nighttime.
So auras is not like something that like I can just see during the day, you know what I mean? Like I always joke when I was born and they'll try and sneak up on me or whatever, and it's like I saw your aura literally from a mile away. Like I saw the outline of your body and I couldn't see what you physically looked like, but I saw you and I felt you. And when we finally, how old were we?
We had to have been like 13.
I was gonna say I was
14.
like 13. So maybe you guys were 14 or 15, or maybe I was young. Yeah, maybe I was 11. I was young. No, because I was 12 when we moved out. So I had to have been 12 or 13.
Yeah,
so you were just
still
15,
young.
Babies. And we told our cousin Ryan about it, and he was just, no way, that's not real. And not all auras, but some auras are like just different shades, or I can kind of distinguish between them. And yours versus Ryan's was a big, big difference for me. So I was able to completely, if you guys were standing in pitch black with lights off, I could tell which one was you and which one was Ryan. And we were talking about it, and he was like, he's very smart. He's like, that's not true. Like, it's not a real thing, that doesn't exist. Just a skeptic, you know what I mean? And I think it was you, or I think it was me, but it was like, we can prove it to you. And so they went into the backyard and we shut off all the inside lights, all the outside lights, and it was, it's literally pitch black out there. You can't see anything. And they went so far as to like climb up on the rock water slides, like, and I don't know if these people have seen my backyard. I'll post a picture of it right here. Our backyard is an acre. So they could have been hiding anywhere in this acre, and 100% of the time I'd be like, Tyler, Ryan, turn around, they would move. Turn back around, step outside, Ryan's over here, Tyler's on the slide, back inside. I did it over and over and over again until he literally could not believe me anymore.
That's so cool.
Super weird.
Super weird.
Something I've always wondered about that is, has my aura changed colors over the year?
Actually, that was a lie. Yeah, it's gotten more yellow. but more like, I would say it started kind of around the time you met Kenzie, maybe. Or maybe a tiny bit before. But yeah, it seems like it's gotten more yellow.
Interesting.
Why do you ask?
Just because I remembered when we first started talking about them, kind of, and I don't know if this is really true at all, but my perception of an aura was almost as like your energy. So depending on what type of person you were, would translate to your aura.
That's what a lot of people believe.
That's you know, like I remembered when we were young, mine was more like white and not to say pure, but
yeah.
it was pure.
No, so white that it was like a stop sign, like literally glowing.
And I just remembered, like, our cousin, he was a little like more like an angry person at the time. He's changed a lot since then, but when he was a kid, you know, he was definitely like a little hard nosed and
stubborn.
Yeah, his like, you know, skeptic, like always wanted to challenge. And his aura was red, and it was like darker.
And his was the only person that I had seen that was red, so I never believed it to be a religious thing either. Like, I didn't think it was like, Christians are right, and so their auras are like glowing white and pure and whatever, and if you have it wrong and you don't have the right faith, then you might have a red or a black or a different foggy aura. But like, I found that's just not at all the case, like completely false. That people, and I'm colorblind. Like, to some colors, you know what I mean? But I do see people's auras sometimes in light shades of colors. Yours is like a little light purple. Wow. I'm gonna look at what it means. Because sometimes they mean things.
Yeah, you guys have known each other for over a year now, and this is the first time
we've never
talking about it.
It's not something that's talked about in the household, which is so crazy.
Yeah. It's just part of life.
Yeah. Okay, what does it mean when you have a purple aura? You're balanced, centered, and in tune with yourself. I believe that about you. Lavender. Lavender, that's more what I saw. Look what comes with it.
You can never grow lavender though.
What, you know, sorry, those look like Polaroids. Like photos, don't they?
They kind of do.
Lavender aura color meaning: imagination, visionary, daydreamer, energetic. And you're very creative. You can come in if you want. Okay. But you are very creative. Your every job you do, you know what I mean? That has more of a greenish aura. Greenish, kind of orange. Should we look up what that means?
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
Oh, we just
You
looked
see
up.
colors now?
Sometimes. Kenzie's is like a purple, but purple wasn't right. It's like a light purple. And then it said lavender
I
under
usually
it.
see white on her.
Oh, yeah.
Like bright.
Tyler, too. Tyler's always got kids following him around.
What does Tyler's mean?
Tyler's. First thing it brought up was like that you'll have a hard time picking a career. Yellow, it's just like yellow itself, bright, happy, cheerful, and so on. People with yellow auras are typically very pleasant to be around, ability to lighten the mood. They are confident.
Wow.
And of course happy. Beyond that, there's
and
a few
ridiculously
shades
good
that
looking.
Okay, so here's different meanings: light yellows, bright yellows.
That's true.
I would say yours is more of a light yellow, or like more of a like almost highlighter. So I guess that's bright.
Hello?
Huh?
Hello, we can't find noodles. Speaking at the end of your video, you and Tyler should show your matching kittens.
That's a great idea. Thanks, Mom.
You're welcome, Lemon.
Bye.
Kitten videos always get a lot of views though, so I mean, show off those kitties while you can.
True.
Show your kitties.
Okay, so versus a light
It's
yellow.
not working.
Show off those kitties. Show while you're young. So there's light yellow and bright yellow, and I would say you're kind of like more of a highlighter. Like, it's not sharp where it's like obnoxious where you're like, ugh, you know, but it's like you're bright. I'll read
Nobody
light.
ever called you that before.
Sorry, so I'll read light yellow after. I want to read bright yellow. What if it's bad? Now I'm nervous. I should have read them before. Oh, it's good. Okay.
Pressure's on.
Radiant and glowing bright yellow aura is often an indication of happiness, confidence, and overall pleasant social nature. In some cases, yellow is tinted slightly neon. This can mean an imbalance or a blockage in the solar plexus chakra. but more, I don't know what that is, like heart chakra, like what
Your
you want,
solar
like what you
plexus?
want to do, like what you're being pulled to do. Bright yellow is a strong sense of self, like joy in oneself. And then light yellow, yellow is one of the ones I'm colorblind to, so what if I'm just completely off? Think of a light yellow aura as being slightly tinged on with the day. While it's not glowing bright, the hint of a soft yellow indicates hope and new beginnings. People with a light yellow aura may be embarking on a new phase in their life or coming to realizations. Whatever the case, there's certain optimism about a light yellow
Wow,
aura.
a lot of that lands on the truth. New
Crazy.
career, you love it,
That's crazy.
you're happy with it,
Super wild.
you're joyful in all the people you're with. That's cool.
Kenzie's was right on, Ty's was right on. Dad, let's see if Crane says that you're a piece of
Have you ever heard of life numbers?
No.
Yeah, it's on that mattress, and you set it so you sleep better.
Ooh. What are life numbers?
It's, I don't know exactly how they are found,
Uh-huh.
like what the process is to do it, so I'm not gonna make something up.
Or is it like the ones that you see over and over again, something like that?
I don't know if it's that as much as it is like with your like month or day, year, whatever.
Okay.
Like when you're born, they basically all add up or subtract or whatever.
I
to a
do
certain
know I have
number.
my life numbers, 23. I have like multiple of them. I think that there's 5 total.
Oh yeah.
Uh-huh. I've gotten them done before, but I have them on a card somewhere. I went to a psychic who was actually very smart and he knew a lot about it. I was hoping that he could train me.
Oh,
He wrote down my life numbers and stuff. And
I
he,
threw away a tape, and I think it was the psychic that I went to.
the one before Tyler and I were born.
Yeah, the one who told me Tyler would be born in a year.
Wow.
And be a
She
boy.
said,
You'd be
and she
extremely
told me
good
that I
looking.
had visited, my father had visited me. And she said he'd visited me twice, and I knew that he'd visited me once because I talked to him. But I don't remember. She was a trip. She was on
Why do you think you threw it away?
because I threw away all these cassette tapes that I had because I figured it was just me and my friends jamming.
Oh.
And I realized one of them was black, and that was the one she made.
How long ago was that?
When I was cleaning my drawers for my new dresser.
A couple months or weeks.
A couple weeks. It's gone. It's in the dumpster.
Well, I looked up what your green aura means. Would you like to know?
Sure. Please do.
Those with the green aura radiate a life force energy that is sensed by all beings that come into their presence. How you say that things are always attracted to you?
Especially women.
Because no,
And some men.
sure,
And some
men. Because of this, individuals with intense green auras constantly over time are typically drawn to self-healers, animals, and spirits.
Oh.
That explains the spirits.
Can you see your own aura?
No.
Sometimes
I
I
can't.
can. I've taken a picture of it once before by accident where I was sitting in the car and like I had Snapchat on. Or like it was Snapchat because I saved it to my memories because every once in a while it pops up. You know how sometimes you just accidentally like hit the down button instead of the lock button and you take a picture instead of turning your phone off? That's what I did, and it was of my legs, and you could see my white aura like literally all the way around my legs, and I was like, what the fuck? And so I took my phone out, took pictures in every single way, flash on, flash off, different angles. No picture looked like that. And it's like clearly an aura. Whoa. Super weird, but that's the only time I've ever seen my own aura. Do you remember when we were kids and we used to like...
Yeah, like where's my finger?
Then
Hold- no,
Mom! Tyler poked
He's
me.
touching me!
She's touching my aura.
She's touching my aura. Oh my god, I did that to Mackie the other day. We were deciding between snacks, and it was like for our snack package, you know, and there was an orange flavored one and a strawberry flavored one. No one likes orange flavored things. If you like orange flavored things, do you?
He does.
I like it all.
No
It's
candy
orange
corn.
So we had two. There was a strawberry one and an orange one, and we had to take them. And I did not want the orange Jello cup. Like, I wanted the strawberry one. And so I'm like, do you want to pick or do you want me to pick? And she goes, you pick. And I'm thinking, thank God, what a fool. And so she like puts them in her hands, you know, and holds them out. And I'm like this, and I'm going back and forth. And she goes, get get your aura away from me, I can feel it. And then I go, this one, and she turns it over and it's the pink one, like the strawberry one. But it was so funny. Even now I use it to my advantage.
So good.
So good.
I'm leaving. I'm gonna go and breathe on your mom and get in trouble.
Literally, I had 40 seconds. Do you have a moment that haunts you?
So many.
That haunts me.
Remember that story you always tell me? Not always, tell me once. I just always think about it every time I come up here.
This is like making me sweaty. That's like how, like, yeah, this one does haunt me, I
No,
guess.
I'm uncomfortable too. The entire vibe has changed.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
It was weird.
Nice.
It happened twice in the same week. The first, I was laying like up in the hills, just cloud watching, and
What a nerd.
so it's daytime, and I'm up in the hills, you know, just hanging out in the sun, laying down, like looking up at the sky.
Such a star
And-
child.
Such a star child.
So in touch with nature.
And this cloud like starts rolling in, and it's just like the weirdest cloud ever, like so cumulonimbus-esque, like very fluffy.
You sure it wasn't Cirrus Nimbus?
I think it was the one I said before.
I don't remember it anymore, but it was that one.
But yeah, just like a really like fluffy cloud, and
Yeah.
it
Caught your
Yeah,
attention.
it like rolled in, and I'm looking at it, and just like couldn't mistake it for anything else. I'm like, holy shit! Like that is a like drawing of the Great Reaper, like face, hood.
Was it a white cloud or like a dark cloud?
It was a white cloud. Yeah, really weird. Like didn't have.
What exactly were you doing in your truck?
No, I was laying.
Watching clouds.
I was laying down outside.
Maybe we need to have a talk.
I was there. The story came out. I was laying outside having a nice picnic.
You were enjoying the weather.
I was enjoying the weather.
You were having a
And-
nice little relaxing
This
day.
cloud like rolls in, and I'm like looking at it, because I'm like, whoa, like that's a weird looking cloud, and it just like hit me like that's like the Grim Reaper. Like looked like the skull, the hood, didn't have a scythe or like a body or anything, but it was like a perfect like drawing of like what would be like the shoulders up, but in the cloud. And I just like remember being like taken like, whoa, that was weird.
It's the
And
second time you saw
a
it.
couple days later, I'm laying in the back of my truck. The reason I did is like I set an alarm for like the middle of the night so I can get up, and it was supposed to be the height of a meteor shower that night. So I'm like, oh, like, you know, let's go out and watch it. Like, put a bunch of blankets in the bed of my truck.
They say that's super high energy too. Like when things like that are passing through, that's like
Yeah, it was crazy. It was supposed to be like, you know, a shooting star every like 30 seconds.
that's crazy. Was that just a couple years ago?
It was probably a year and a half
Yeah.
ago. So I'm just laying down, like watching all the shooting stars, like, oh, there's one, there's one, there's one, and all of a sudden this just really heavy feeling came over, and I like looked to like the far left side of the sky, and everything just like left my body. Every feeling that I had, I couldn't speak. I like wasn't scared, but I was like genuinely like uncomfortable, and all I could do was point. And
This is the night that I saw it too.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm pointing at it, like trying to show like the person I'm with, but I couldn't say anything,
Yeah.
and I just like followed it across the entire sky, from as far left like as I saw it, until like it went out of my like vision,
Yeah.
like just following it with my finger, and it flew like not extremely fast, like slower than you would like see a plane flying.
Yeah. Wasn't
And
blinking, obviously.
Wasn't blinking.
Okay, I'm gonna ask two different questions. Did it look like a witch or like a Dementor from Harry Potter?
So I'm gonna like say
Really?
Dementor from Harry Potter just because.
Because that's what I like saw too.
Yeah, like so, like if I'm trying to set the scene, it's like a little bit brighter outside, like stars, or the sky is full of stars.
Yeah.
So you can kind of actually see, and it was probably flying about, like in between, like how high like a bird flies, maybe a little bit higher.
Not high enough.
No, yeah, like not high enough to be a plane or anything.
Or
And-
to be just not high enough
Not
to
high
go.
And it was just like such a clear, like black silhouette of exactly like you said, like a Dementor, and I like couldn't say anything, just followed it across the sky, and I got up out of my truck. So I was literally maybe 200 feet away from your house, like where we are now.
Yeah.
And I just like walked up, given it's the middle of the night, and I start knocking on your door.
I'm awake.
And she's awake, and she's like, takes her a minute to get out to the front, which, you know, wasn't weird or anything.
I'm a slow walker.
Middle of the night. And I figured she's just waking up, but she was coming from the back porch. And
The back window, actually,
back
my room.
window. Yeah. And
So we were facing the same direction.
Yeah, and I just tell her, like, I just saw the craziest thing I've ever seen in my life. I'm still shaken. It, like, makes me uncomfortable to, like, talk about it still.
No, I can tell. Your entire position, you're like...
Yeah, it was weird. And I tell her, like, I just saw the weirdest thing ever. And she just goes, you saw it too? And...
You poor thing.
I'm like, yeah. Like, what the was that?
Yeah.
You know?
Uh-huh.
And that's exactly how you explained it. You're like, I'm like, I think I just saw the Grim Reaper. Like, what was that? And you go, as weird as it is to say, it's kind of like I get the feeling of what the Dementors are from Harry Potter.
Just something that like steals energy from other people to survive. That was like one of the crazy experiences for sure, where I just like having you in the middle of the night knocking on my door and you being like, you saw that too? And then like it's happened since then, but the amount of dreams that we have at the same time where what you dreamt about was in my house, like,
yeah,
almost makes me uncomfortable.
Yeah, definitely some weird sleep paralysis experiences where I'll see, you know, like a spirit or like an outline of a figure, and we'll describe it to her, and it happens to be the figure that comes slinking out of her closet late at night.
Blackish gray.
Black, long, lanky.
Yeah, literally. Thin.
Like a string cheese man.
Because, yeah, they're like almost like Slenderman, but not as tall, and almost pointy fingers. It's definitely not human.
One kind of crazy story that I don't really remember how it like wrapped up, or even if it did wrap up, was when we lived in North Carolina. So there was just lots of really weird things.
Wait, let me give a backstory. So, wait, how old were you? 19?
No, I was 20.
20. Okay, so you were 20, I was 18. You just randomly decided pack up and you're gonna go on an adventure and live with your buddies in North Carolina.
Exactly, yeah, like had a really good friend all through high school.
Yeah.
And him and his family lived out in North Carolina, and I ended up going on a trip to visit him and just fell in love with the place. And, you know, thought, hey, why not? Like, let's all get a place together and live it up while we're young and have some fun.
Everyone's dream.
So, yeah, we did just that. And we got this house, and it just seemed like the dream house. It was too good to be true. It had everything we could ever want.
Now that you say that, I'm like, I wonder why it was up. You know?
And it was up for a long time. Like,
really?
I remembered it was up for, this is going to sound crazy too. Except it's only going to sound crazy if you live in California and pay our rent prices. But this was a 3,000 square foot lake home, and it was marketed for $1,500 a month. So we were like, this is insane. Like, that's such a good deal. Like,
no, if you don't get it, you're stupid.
We're paying nothing, and it's been up forever, so we...
And you're sharing it,
We made an offer for even less money, ended up paying like
and they took it? They took the offer for less money?
Took the offer for less money.
So they wanted...
They really needed a renter.
Out, yeah.
And, like, who knows if they even knew what was going on in this place.
Yeah,
but,
true.
At first, you know, it seemed like the dream place, but my other roommates started talking to me, and they're like, hey, like, do you ever feel this weird energy?
And he's very sensitive. We've been on a little ghost hunt with him before, and he had to go wait in the car. Like, threw up.
No,
and...
like, super religious kid. He's just, like, very in tune with his spiritual side. And we're all just talking, and we're like, yeah, we kind of do feel this weird energy.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hey, I know just the girl to ask about it. So we're going around, and we're just taking pictures everywhere, and we start, like, noticing all these, like, weird little things.
But you don't tell me about them.
No, we didn't tell her at first, but it just like helped build this mystery in our mind.
Yeah.
Like for example, some of the things where, like instead of locks being on the outside of the doors, and it was like one specific door that was like this, my one friend's bedroom. Instead of locks being like on the inside, so that
So you
the
could lock
person
people out.
you could lock people out of your bedroom. The locks were on the outside, so that we could actually lock him in the bedroom.
Which is
which is not how locks work.
no.
Like
and when you guys sent me the picture of the hallway, I remember saying, and it was a live photo, and I remember holding down the live photo. Thanks, Apple. And watching this thing walk from one bedroom down the hall and into that room.
Yeah.
That's what I described.
Exactly. And so that door that was locked from the outside to keep people in or someone in, the whole inside of that door had just scratch marks down it.
I did not know that.
Yeah, really weird things like that where it's like, could be a total normal explanation or could just be like, wow, someone was locked in here and they were clawing at the door to like get out or get someone's attention.
Was there a window in the room?
There was a window.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Was it there's a 3-story house, there were 2 with a basement.
Yeah, it was 2 stories but had like a mid-level that was literally just a flat that like wound down to the basement. But like that was super weird.
One more question, was that room on the 2nd floor?
It was on the top story, yeah.
Okay.
So like I guess that would be like, I don't know how you describe it.
No.
You walk in the middle and you could go up to the top floor or down to the bottom.
Okay, I'm hearing it. I remember feeling about the basement immediately in the garage door. Those were my 2 things that my gut just was like,
okay,
what's wrong with that?
That was exactly where I was headed. So then there was like downstairs in the basement, which is where we first found something kind of weird. It was the first thing we noticed after the feelings.
And I told you guys when you sent me a picture not to drink down there, not to do anything down there, to just like.
Yeah, and that just happened to be that was the room.
That was the
where
party room.
We would all have our friends over.
Yeah.
We'd party like down in the garage because we could be loud and play music.
Of
and
course.
There's dartboard and
It was
air
the hangout
hockey.
spot.
It's hangout spots.
And it was exactly where I told you not to hang out.
Yeah, and that's where we would always hang out. But we noticed on the wall in there, just scratched into it, there was a name and it said Drew Lives.
But before all of this happened, you had sent me these images and I had seen that live photo of this thing going through and into the other room, and your friend confirmed that that's exactly where you guys feel it walk and feel it go into, and that was the room with the door that was backwards,
Yeah,
the lock that was
locks.
backwards. And then as I continued describing the house, and I've never been to his house in North Carolina, I've never seen pictures, like we text, we Snapchat, that's about it. I started describing the garage and the garage door and how it had no windows on it. Like, you know how garage doors have windows on them, like at the top, you know? Ours is even broken. Like, there was no windows. It was just completely black, like
yeah, it was
dark.
literally like a room that was just concrete blocks.
How weird is that?
Super weird.
So that's what I saw and that's what I described, and I was like, and I didn't know his address or anything either. I was like, is that what your front garage looks like? And he was like, that's exactly like what our garage door looks like. And then I started seeing holes in the wall, almost like, you know, when you mount things to the side of the wall, like shelving units in the garage, to hang things on.
Yeah.
It would be almost like that, where they were thick enough, but I was like, that's not what they were used for. Like, it was a cage.
None of them were in line. They were kind of like someone had bolted something in there really quick, didn't care to line up like a shelf.
Like, they were all over the place. It was so inconsistent, and in the middle of all of those holes where it would have been basically someone could have been trapped, that's where it was scraped into the wall. Drew Lives.
Yeah.
Super weird. Was there anything else really weird about that house that happened?
Well, I was saying that like I didn't really remember how we resolved it, but then I remembered that one of my roommates actually etched a cross around Drew Lives. and we kind of just stopped talking about it after that.
And it just stopped.
And yeah, things like really calmed down.
What about the girl who knew exactly who I was, who pulled you aside?
Oh, which one was that?
Was her name Michelle?
Okay, it's happened a couple times.
She was witchy. She was like a witch.
Oh, no. That was, her name was
Just this girl, like Tyler was out with all of his friends, if I remember right, was out with all of your friends, and she was like, can I talk to you? Like, you know how like girls do where it would almost be like, oh, she's flirting with him, you know what I mean? Like, let me pull you aside. And instead of flirting, as far as I know, she was like, I know about your sister. Kenzie's right here. She goes, I know about your sister. Like, I know about the things that she sees. What did she say? Do you remember exactly what it was?
I don't.
Something along those lines.
Disclaimer, like, we're bleeping out her name and everything.
Yeah.
The girl ended up being total psycho, so I've kind of built up a little memory blockade of her.
That's fair enough, that's fair enough. But this girl, I remember you calling me afterwards and telling me the things that she told you about me. And I was like, that's insane.
Yeah, no, I did remember just feeling like you guys were almost like so in tune. Like you had this gift, but she like practiced it.
I was gonna say,
and,
but
she really, like, wanted to have
she
that
practiced it in a lot of different ways than I do. You know, where I just kind of like I pray about it and like whatever's God's will, like that's what's gonna happen. And some people take different approaches, and I feel like we definitely had different approaches. But she knew a lot about me, and I knew a lot about her.
Yeah, it was kind of like how me and you have very similar dreams. It was a real similar experience to that, where she would have dreams about my sister, and my sister would have dreams about her. Like,
and I never met her.
Having met, and I wouldn't talk about this girl like until.
Yeah, well, she was like, like a nobody, really, but
just
except for when it came up, like she would help me out. Last question. I'm gonna end on this one because I'm curious, because this is one I wouldn't know the answer to. Has anything happened to you in the house that you've never told anyone about? Not even me.
Oh, man, I don't know, because normally when something does happen to me, I love to share it with you.
Right?
Because we do have that thing where similar things happen to both
It's like
of us.
what happened
like
to you last night.
Exactly. But there was one crazy thing that I don't know if I ever did tell you about it, but it happened with one of my buddies. He'd come over after school. We were in high school and just hanging out. I remember we were all home all alone, and all of a sudden, like all the doors in the house, it was this house, like down at my parents'.
Oh really?
Or our parents.
Yeah.
Yeah. All the doors.
I am adopted.
All the doors just slammed shut at the same time. We were standing like in the dining room, like right at the beginning of the hall where the thermostat was.
Like literally in the where you can see every single door in the house.
Door. Yeah, we were like standing like right there, like maybe getting ready to go outside and swim or something.
Yeah.
But all the doors in the house just slammed shut at the same time, and we were like, "What the?" And ran into the living room. We're like, "Dude, what just happened? Like that was crazy."
Yeah.
And like right as we're like in shock, both of the screens on like the window behind the couch popped off out into the front yard, and we were just like, "Oh!" And, like,
it's like
it
it followed you in there.
Yeah, like freaked out really quick, and he's like tripping, and I just kind of told him, like, so he calls his sister because we at the time, yeah, and he's like, you gotta come pick me up, like crazy stuff's happening.
He wanted out.
Yeah, and she came and she got him and left me there home alone. And I was like, well, damn, just me and you now.
Just me and you. That is so funny. Well, not funny, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah, like nothing like crazy. I never kept to myself or anything, but I just don't know if I've shared that one with you before.
You haven't. That's the weird thing, is that so many crazy things happen in like our lives and just growing up that they don't always get shared, and these are the moments that when we're like, oh my god, like other families looking back and like they're reminiscing like, what a good Christmas, and we're like, oh my gosh, remember that couch, like that time that my couch got moved off of the wall? Remember the time that every door slammed shut in the house at once?
Super crazy.
Super crazy. A little bit of a different childhood we lived.
Oh, totally.
Well,
yeah. Wouldn't trade it for anything though.
No, me neither. You know what? Like, it's really shaped us into who we are, I believe.
Oh, totally. Totally.
Dang. Well, I know that for a year and a half, people have been asking me to not only make a video, but specifically make a video with my brother, because you were there with me through it all. I have I have one other brother, Justin, who sees things not to the same extent, but probably in the middle of you and I. And boy, does he have some stories of seeing things that I've seen. Doing home blessings. This is when we were trying to keep it a secret from you. We were walking around and Justin had that water bottle, or Gatorade bottle full of holy water. We were in Grandma B's room and he's, you know, flipping water in corners. And you know those mirrors that are like, you can kind of flip around or whatever? Gets picked up and thrown at him. Right? Super weird.
So
in front of me, Mom, and Justin. So Justin's another one they'll definitely have to have on. But thank you for coming on and talking about all the crazy things that happened in our childhood.
Oh yeah.
And to date.
Not for real.
Well, if you guys enjoyed this video, be sure to hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. It waited a year to post, and that's on me, so hopefully that won't happen again.
It's worth the wait.
It was worth the wait. Thank you, Tyler. But other than that, I'll see you guys on the next one, and I can't say peace because that's Mackie and I's thing, so later.